I had a great opening joke planned for this video, but it involved the cat and he is refusing to cooperate. He's a complex and layered individual with a long and intricate backstory and some strong motivations. All of that culminates in him not wanting to appear on camera. Luckily, I have that painting, which is over there. Otherwise, you wouldn't believe that I actually own a cat. You've no doubt heard the terms flat and round character before, even if only when you read the title of this video, provided I didn't title it like a smartass. We've talked a lot on this channel about character development, different aspects of characters, and different aspects of characterization, so I think it's time that we discuss this topic in a bit more detail. So let's talk about the difference between flat and round characters, what purpose they each serve in the story, and some different ways that you can screw the two up. Flat and round characters are relatively easy to define. Round characters are, well, rounded. That's well, comma, rounded, not well-rounded. Although they also tend to be well-rounded too, I suppose. Well, that sentence went around a lot. Round characters have more depth than their flat counterparts. They're a more complete picture of a person, usually with a well-defined backstory, motivations, and personality. In contrast to flat characters, which usually don't have much characterization at all, and may not be anything more than an archetype or a stereotype. Another crucial element to round characters is they need to be surprising. Their actions and behavior should be able to surprise the reader. This surprise arises from their depth. Because a round character represents an intricately woven pattern of different attributes, their behavior can at times be difficult to predict. This doesn't mean that they have to behave irrationally, just that their complexity makes figuring out what they are going to do ahead of time very difficult. A lot of people make the difference between flat and round characters a matter of quality, saying that round characters are inherently better than flat ones. This is not really true. As we'll talk about later on, both types of characters can serve an important role in a narrative, and there are ways to use them effectively. Like most things in writing, understanding the purpose behind flat and round characters is the first step to using them both effectively. Knowing when a character should be rounded out with all the chattels that come with roundness and when they are better left flat is important. Round characters are the characters that a reader will get invested in. They are more engaging and realistic than their flat counterparts. Flat characters are generally going to be less interesting for the reader, but that doesn't mean they can't be likable, memorable, or relatable. Flat characters can play important roles in the story, sometimes better than round characters can. The round versus flat character issue is a lot like the show versus tell issue. Go and watch my 11 videos on that if you need a refresher. But just like showing creates engaging, interesting writing that draws the reader in with sensory information, round characters do the same thing. And just like with showing, round characters require more page time and more words to get all the information across, because you need to explain all the backstory, motivations, and whatnot that makes them an actual round character. Telling compared to showing can get information across much quicker, although in a less engaging way. You're not providing the same sort of sensory detail that you do with showing. Just like flat characters can be introduced and utilized faster than round characters. Just like with show versus tell, there are times when flat characters are better to be used than round ones, even though round characters can be more interesting and engaging. If the characters don't matter to the overall arc of the story, or if introducing and establishing a round character would wreak havoc with your pacing, then a flat character is fine to use. Flat characters also play a role in enhancing your round characters. If you have a foiling character for your protagonist, that foiling character often is and can be a flat character and still be an effective character foil. Round characters draw attention to themselves because we want to know more about their backstories. They behave in surprising ways, and they are just generally interesting. This engagement comes at the cost of word count and a loss of focus on the plot. If you're writing a heavily plot-focused work, then bogging it down with too many round characters can actually be detrimental. On the other hand, a more character-focused work will need to lean on the depth and variety that round characters can offer. Having a character-driven story with all flat characters is going to be kind of flat. Of course, this is a bit of an oversimplification. Most stories tend to have a mixture of round and flat characters, ideally with each playing to their strengths in different parts of the narrative. Even the most heavily plot-focused work would probably benefit from having, if nothing else, a well-rounded protagonist and a well-rounded antagonist. And most character-driven work is going to have a few flat characters thrown into the mix, either to be character foils, like I mentioned before, or just to fill in holes in the cast. Of course, that's assuming that you can actually make the round characters round and the flat characters flat. Sometimes we write a character that we believe is fully rounded with a well thought out personality and interesting backstory, a fully developed motivation, only to have the first person who reads about the character complain that they seem a little flat. This is a big problem because a character that seems flat but is filling a role that requires a round character is not a good thing. There are a few potential causes for this. If you have a large cast of characters who are arguably round, but they are all round in the same way, then this can make all the characters seem flat. One of the key traits of a round character is their distinctiveness. If none of your characters are distinctive, then they won't seem round. This is one place where adding in a flat foiling character, or just making sure that all your round characters have some distinct traits about them, can help to make your characters seem more round. A related issue here is a complex character without a lot of depth. You can create a character that we know a lot of facts about without actually knowing who that character is. This is an issue I take with a lot of character development exercises, like the ones where you answer a bunch of questions about the character or you interview the character. Their favorite color, their favorite flavor of sorbet, what kind of dental floss they prefer. These types of exercises generate a lot of facts about a character but don't really work to create any cohesion within the character. This is especially bad if all of the characters in your story have answered the same questions and we know the same facts about all of them. Every person is shaped by events in their past, their personality, and their culture. There is a cause and effect relationship between these things that create a distinct person. Different events and different things in different people's lives are going to have different levels of importance for different people. If your character's backstory doesn't explain who they became, or if the events don't seem to have affected them and worked to shape them in some way, then they won't seem like a coherent, believable, round character. If the backstory of a character isn't coming through in the actions and views that they take in the story, then they're just going to seem like a flat character that happens to have a bunch of facts that you're sharing with the reader. Speaking of sharing things with the reader, another possibility is that while the character may seem round to you, that roundness might not be getting across to the reader. If the backstory or other elements of the character aren't clear or aren't explained well, then the character will seem flat, even though in your mind they are round. If you know the character better than the reader does, which is almost inevitable, then you need to make sure that you're getting the reader up to speed properly on who this character is. The only real way to address that is to get feedback and see what people are picking up on about your characters and see maybe if you need to be a little bit more clear or if you need to give them some more information. Well, I think we've gone around this topic enough, so let's transition to the conclusion. I've been talking flat out for like 15 minutes. I hope you enjoyed this video and found the advice in it useful. If you want to see more stuff like this, you can check out all my other writing advice related videos and subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every Wednesday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.